Thanks,
Yeah.
finally, right?
Yeah.
Is your app, welcome aboard, you know, officially, I guess, again. Is your client joining you, or you
I spoke to him
All right,
earlier.
guys.
He said he would.
Hold on,
he
guys.
would
Guys,
join me.
hold on. Hold on. Let me get this started, and then we'll rock it out here. Okay, hold on.
He might be joining by phone.
okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we are live, Marlon.
Okay.
Trina.
This is a virtual meeting of the Town of Pembroke Park. It's a hearing examiner meeting. Notice is hereby given that the Town Commission of the Town of, this is the hearing examiner of the Town of Pembroke Park, Florida, will hold a virtual hearing examiner meeting utilizing communications media technology in accordance with Emergency Ordinance 2020-009 dated November 10th, 2020, pertaining to conducting local government meetings while under the public health emergency related the spread of novel coronavirus disease 2019. This is Thursday, December 17th at 5 o'clock. You can dial in with your phone at 1-866-899-4679, or you can also dial in with 1-571-317-3116, and the access code is 644-628-429. 644-628-429. 2 hours prior to the meeting, you can submit or text. Text or place a voicemail at 954-707-9820. Any person of the public wishing to comment publicly on all matters, including on items on the agenda, may submit their comments by email to the town clerk at townclerk@townofpembrokepark.com. All comments submitted by email that, if read orally, are 3 minutes or less shall be read into the record. All comments submitted by email shall be made a part of the public record. If any member of the public requires additional information about this meeting or has any questions about how to submit a public comment at the meeting, please contact Marlene D. Martel, Town Clerk, Town of Pembroke Park, 3150 Southwest 52nd Avenue, Pembroke Park, Florida, 33023. You can call at 954-966-4600, extension 235, Town Clerk at townofpembrokepark.com.
Okay.
I believe that's all I have. Now it's basically meeting called to order at 5:11.
Okay. Do we want to do the Pledge of Allegiance, or can we? Okay, we'll do that. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible,
liberty and
with
justice for all.
All.
Okay, roll call. I'm the hearing examiner. Who else is present for the record, please?
Melissa Anderson, Town Attorney for Pembroke Park.
Marlene Martel is here. Jeremy Shear is here. Harry Hippler is here, and Michael Miller is here as well. Okay, are there any public comments related to the agenda items or good and welfare? Not that I can see. Okay.
I don't have any at the present time. And we also have Susie Rulinger here with us as well.
Great. Okay, that's good to know. All right, we're going to now go ahead and turn it over to Michael Miller for a variance modification discussion and his report.
All right, thank you. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I'm going to try to paraphrase, if you will, from my staff report and backup information that was prepared for this application back in August. My staff report is actually dated August 28, 2020. We'd like to apologize a little bit to the applicant. The application was made over the summer. We began our review and did our report. There's been a change of administration and certain key staff members. We had a little problem with getting the advertising together and so forth. So, on behalf of the town, I apologize to the applicant. But no, we're trying to get this thing moving forward. Paraphrasing, the nature of the request is in 2001 and 2002, dating myself, Harry and I handled this application. And the then owner of the property, which was called Tower Bridge Antiques, located at 2350 Southwest 30th Avenue, approached the town with a request to expand the building that was there at that time so he could expand his antique business. The site's a little bit small, and the original building predated many of our zoning setback requirements and so forth. So they wanted to, rather than zigzag the building, they asked for a number of variances to keep the lines of the building kind of generally the same. And there was a couple of things related to that. The number of driveway connections. 2 are allowed. There's 3 because there's a truck loading area. And lastly, the size of the building and the use of the building dictates the quantity of parking spaces. So based on the size of the expansion in the old building, it would have required, I believe it was 32 parking spaces back then. So they didn't really have enough room for that, and the applicant said, "Look, I'm in the antique business." At that time, almost all of the uses in that area along 30th Avenue were also antique businesses. So people would park their car and then they would go to several antique stores, if you will, like they used to have in Dania Beach on Federal Highway. Those are all kind of fading away as well. Everything's online now. They don't have to have the prime frontage anymore. And so the applicant got a site plan approval and also a variance with 5 variances, including a reduction in the quantity of parking spaces from 31 down to 22 parking spaces. And that's what was built. The place is operated as an antique store for Mr. Kaufman, who was the original guy, or several antique businesses over the time since then. Recently, the property changed hands, and the gentleman that acquired it wants to open, and we've been encouraging home improvement stores along 30th Avenue as well, showrooms, carpeting, kitchen cabinets, bathroom cabinets, granite, whatever. We have a wide variety of that along the boulevard. So this gentleman wants to open a carpet showroom, if you will, which has similar parking characteristics to an antique store. An antique store is basically a warehouse with lots of furniture spread around, usually not a high occupancy use. People mill around, they like something, they buy it, and then they deliver it to your house. So it's kind of like a furniture store. If people been in City Furniture, Bears, things like that, similar type of arrangement. So the new owner retained, or actually it was the prior owner, together with the new owner, contacted us. We talked about the history of the property. They engaged Mr. Shear and his law firm, the prior owner did, and also a traffic engineer was brought in who looked at this property and compared it to other properties, that are in the industrial, if you will, kind of quasi-industrial, commercial or industrial showroom thing, which is a little different than just a retail store or a commercial office or a dead box warehouse where they're shipping things. So a study was put together, and it showed what the parking could be, and based on this use and compared to other similar uses. And we went back and forth. Confusing it a little bit is, or not confusing, but conflicting, is in 2015, the city completely rewrote the permitted uses in the M1 zoning district. And rather than kind of a broad open door, if you will, which led to a lot of abuses. There is a very specific list of uses now that are permitted by right, permitted by special exception, or strictly prohibited. And we've been applying that for the last 5 years. So the initial request was to expand the uses from, let me complete on the variance in 2002, the variance was granted for the setbacks and the parking. During the discussion, they said, well, we don't want you to get an approval and then you open an antique store and go away and then something else moves in and there's not enough parking spaces. So it was agreed and recommended by the hearing examiner in my office that we limit the use specifically to an antique store or antique stores, which was being requested. So now they want to open the door a little bit, and we have this very specific list of uses in the code. So, I looked at the application. We looked at the studies and feel that while yes, the original application was very limited as to the use, that kind of use is kind of waning, and there are other uses that have fairly low parking demand that are similar to that, including a home improvement showroom like a carpet store, cabinet shop, things like that. So we think this is a reasonable request to modify the one variance condition in the 2002 variance package that was approved. So based on that, we've kind of prepared two different scenarios, and in my report there's a list of recommended parking ratios based on the ITE, which is the Institute of Transportation Engineers. They study the heck out of anything transportation, vehicle trips by use, number of cars driving up and down, how many parking spaces are required. And they publish recommended standards so that local governments and developers can see what the industry is and kind of use that average. Earlier in my career, it's very common for cities to borrow what your neighbor has in their code rather than doing original work. Very common. When I was the zoning director of Boca Raton earlier in my career, we were a little more advanced. So we tested that by going out into the field to all kinds of uses and sitting there all day. We had a whole team of people and we counted how many parking spaces they had and how many were actually occupied day and night by time of day. And we actually submitted that to ITE, and hopefully they use the data set. And we updated our code. That's the right way to do it, actually. That it's custom made for your community and for the uses. But again, back to the ITE ratios, there are recommended standards for manufacturing, warehouse, furniture, similar antique stores, miscellaneous light industrial. And in this case, the ratios would result in parking very near to the 22 parking spaces that are at this property. They range from a low of 12 spaces required if it was a big box industrial warehouse type of thing, which we have plenty of, up to 23, with the average, other than the low ball warehouse, at about 21 or 22. So right in the same ballpark. Not knowing how the town commission will react to this, I kind of took two approaches. Option A and option B. Option A would be to revise the 2002 condition from the limitation on only an antique store to several uses that are listed in that exhibit. Those would include manufacturing and distribution of furniture and fixtures, warehouse and storage buildings associated with manufacturing, assembly, distribution. These are all right out of our zoning code. Drapery and blind fabrication service, furniture repair, carpet, and rug cleaning. So these are the kind of those home improvement type things, very similar to the an antique store, furniture store, and very limited as well. I might want to pause for a minute. There's this area of the city has been industrial since the beginning. Before there was even an I-95, the buildings are not attractive. They're very boxy, and although there's a water line there, there's no sewer in the areas yet. The sites are still on septic tanks, which definitely curtails some of the uses that can go there. The town has studied this area. I've drafted a set of zoning regulations to change it from purely industrial to kind of a highway showroom type of thing, if you will. That's been in the works for a while. If we can get the sewer in there, which we're working diligently on getting funding for that, we would have a much better looking front door to the town along I-95. And so that's coming in the future. So I'm kind of thinking that if we open the door too far to all of the industrial uses, there may be something in that list that is not proper for that location if we're trying to get it eventually to be more of a commercial type of area. So the option A is very limited to the uses that are very similar to this, showroomy type of things that we talked about. Option 2, the door would be open much further. I took the existing list of uses in the M1 section 28.211.5 and underlined those uses which would be acceptable in the kind of the same parking range, and crossed out the ones that would not be. So I guess there's no right or wrong answer other than option A would be more tailored, if you will, to what the applicant is looking to occupy the building at. B would be wider, that would allow a lot more uses that would be okay, but maybe not, in the future for the redevelopment that's going to occur. So in summary, we're working from, the request is to revise this 2002 variance that was very limited because of the parking situation. A study has been done. The city has updated its list of permitted uses, and we're trying to make sure that the limited parking, 22 spaces, is enough for whatever's in the building. If it is a carpet store, display showroom type of thing, flooring store, tile, that would have similar parking characteristics as what is there today. So my office is recommending approval of a modification to that section of the old variance in either of the cases. And it's, again, there's no right or wrong, but it's more, the A is more tailored, B is a little more wide open. So that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any question from Mr. Hippler at this time. Then I think we should let the applicant's representative speak and then go from there.
Okay, I'll hold off on any questions except just to comment that it's
Harry, I'm having a little trouble hearing you with the
it's
mask.
because I have a double mask on here, so there's abundance of caution. So anyway, can you hear me now? Is that better?
Better.
Okay, it's a modification, not just restricted to antique stores, which unfortunately on a personal level, but what I personally think is irrelevant, going to more of like carpet stores, room stores, and that type of stuff. So it's a broader amount of businesses, which is fine, which is the entryway to Pembroke Park. Okay, Mr. Schur, do you have any comments, or do you want to cross-examine, anything like that, or? I don't think so.
I don't think it would be necessary in this case. And, thank you so much.
Terry Mason
Mike.
or whatever. No, okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
no, I
ahead.
mean, that was very thorough. Left me a little bit of room, just to, I guess, add a few comments here.
Please do.
Our traffic expert report, we feel very, very comfortable that we're going to be, well below the number of parking spaces that are already approved. Just as an example, per the report we submitted for 18,960 square feet, which is the size of the building, a furniture store would, have 9 parking spaces as a requirement, and, a warehouse would have 5. So, we feel very comfortable in the fact that, that most of the end users who are buying, the rugs and the carpets are commercial accounts, such as interior designers, that we're going to be well below the 22 spaces required. But yeah, I mean, just to reiterate that antique stores, unfortunately, have gone the way of the dodo. Everything is online these days. And as far as the 2 options, I mean, I see the, benefits to either one, one in which you have more flexibility, I suppose, because, properties are bought and sold. The city does want to retain some flexibility with the uses that could be there. So it could be that in 5 years, it's sold, and then we'd be back to where we are. So I think, my client and I would be very comfortable with either option, whatever is better for the town.
Right. Question, would it, for Michael or you, having both options available, not just or, is that a possibility? Because doesn't that give everybody, including the town, broader capacity to rent stuff? I mean, I assume that the buildings are going to be the places are going to be rented to the businesses and the like. So is it better to have both implemented, or is it just or? I mean, either one of you we'll let Michael go. He did the work on the report.
Well, I would say that, option A obviously allows several more uses than is limited right now. But, admittedly, the pants are cut pretty short. As Jeremy said, the times keep changing. I mean, just look at this last year. Is there going to be anything like an office anymore or a retail store? I don't know.
What happened this past year? Oh, yes. That's right.
We just approved Amazon moving into our town with a delivery station. So they're going to bring the boxes to your door. I like to go to stores and look around. I got to touch it, but a lot of people, everybody's different, I'm a dinosaur. So, the option B is much broader, and clearly as times move forward, it would afford the this property owner and future property owners, and again, the broader list also has similar parking characteristics as this use. Mm-hmm. So a lot more uses, but similar parking. So, I'm sure the applicant would want more flexibility, not less flexibility. So I'm sure they would prefer option B, which doesn't bother me either,
Okay.
For long-term flexibility. Other property owners in the same district are afforded all of the uses that are in the zoning code if there's enough parking, so.
Okay. Any comment? I mean, I would think more flexibility. It's just an observation, and the like would be better for the owner of the property, so that you have more flexibility, because who the heck knows 2 years from now what will happen. So nobody knows. Who can ever guess? You can guess, but good luck. So anyway, all right. Okay, that'll be all right. That then. And I don't really have any more comments or observation. I'm well familiar with this. What my policy is that when I get the report in from Michael, I will read it over several times to make sure that I get the gist of it. And sometimes I'll even do a draft subject to any public comments or earth-shattering remarks that may come up at a hearing, which usually I think it only happened once or twice in the past. So this is definitely I have to observe, a really good project, and it should work out, because the going into a city, and I think this is Bob Levy, the former town administrator or whatever he was. I mean, I'm not praising him, or I'm not here to praise him or bury him. I'm just saying that he had started this initial entry into the city with antique shops when they were in. You know, there's still some in Dania Beach, which is where my law office is, and has been since 1982. But it's not really known as the antique capital of Broward County. And as I've always felt, and in fact, for its worth, I wrote when I post law school, I got a MERP degree, Urban and Regional Planning at night, and I wrote a nice project about Dania Beach and how it could certainly be antique city, antique oriented, but they need to have mixed use housing. They were adjacent to the beach. They needed condos, hotels. A town does not live with just one sort of commodity or business, except if you're like Mount Dora and haven't been there in years. That's an antique area. So this is definitely a good project in my opinion. But my report is just a recommendation to the commission. They will ultimately decide. So I would highly recommend that you attend, be prepared to ask questions, or for them, if they ask questions, for you to give answers and the like, and see where it goes. But, you know, my recommendation is that the thing I'll write, you'll get it tomorrow, and the like, is to recommend wholehearted approval of it with either option 1 or 2 or both or whatever, you know, whatever I would think the greatest flexibility here, but that's just an observation. So since there are any other comments by anybody or anything, or any emails, or, you know, old-fashioned way faxes, you know, they still exist. They do, but I remember when faxes came in, that was it. You know, you could get it immediately. Well, emails and the like. So assuming there's no further comments and the like, there really aren't any attorney comments here. Or Melissa, any comments by?
No, I do not have, the town does not have any comments, other than Mike Miller's comments, but the town attorney does not have any comments.
Okay, great. I didn't think so, but that's great. Okay, in that
Barry?
regard, I'll go ahead and adjourn
Barry?
the meeting. Yes, go ahead.
If I may just quickly, with the clerk's input, we're kind of in an odd time frame right now. There's a workshop meeting on Monday, and of course we're in the holiday period right now. There's the normal regular meeting in January of 2021 is usually the second Wednesday of the month, if I remember right. We used to have the workshop, you know, the week before that,
Right.
so that we could present, you know, the items that were going to be on the meeting. Obviously, with the workshop this coming Monday, we cannot present that, and the agenda is already set and published for Monday, so we can't present this item then. I don't know if we can put this on the January meeting, which I would like to do if possible, which would mean that would be like first reading, and then the second reading might be in February at the regular meeting, unless there was some special meeting. So we need to work out the timing a little bit. You know, normally they like it on a workshop first to explain it, then they put it on a meeting. But and I don't know if we can do that now because of there's just the timing. So I just wanted to let the applicant know what's happening in the background. I don't know if Marlon can add any insight, whether we can put it on the January meeting, or whether we have to wait till the workshop in late January and then first reading in February, which drags it out a little bit. But, you know, we'll do what we can, I believe, you know.
Michael,
Yeah,
I go ahead and make sure, I know that you're right. The agenda's been printed and everything's been done, but remember at the beginning of the meeting, we have the additions, deletions, and that portion of it. We can add it in there. I can take all the information that you sent to me and I can forward it on to the commission and let them know that you're gonna bring it up at the meeting.
Yeah,
And I
but
can put you under presentations, then you'll be the first person to speak, and then we'll go into our meeting.
Yeah,
But-
like obviously Harry won't have his report done by
Exactly.
Monday, I don't think, to get
Oh,
it
no,
on.
it's going out tomorrow.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
No, I've worked on it. This
Now,
is.
I'm gonna be gone next week, but I can attend virtually, from my snowy cabin in the woods up north, so, I
Oh,
can,
lucky you.
Fine.
All right. Michigan,
fine.
right? Michigan? No,
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, well, maybe not so lucky. Anyway, cold. But no, I'll have it
60 degree.
emailed out tomorrow because I've been working on this. It's been pending for some time, and it's just something that if we can move it along, fine. If it's up to the city what it wants to, but I'll have it done tomorrow. I'll
Okay.
have it finalized.
As soon as you send me that, Harry, as soon as you send it to me, I'll forward it on to the commission so
Yes.
that then we can get this done on, it's January 13th would be one hearing, and then it's an ordinance that has to have it's an ordinance, correct?
yes,
Okay, so then we'll have to put it on the advertisement, and then the next one will be February 10th. So you guys will be done by February 10th.
yeah, I believe,
I'll
there's no advertising for the first reading because it's an introductory type of thing. But the second reading, I understand under whatever section, 162 or 3 or whatever it is, they, I might have the wrong section, I'm not the attorney.
It's
But there's the
162.041.
the standard newspaper ad for adopting an ordinance.
Melissa's like, it's
Yeah, no, I have it tomorrow. It's Friday. I have a hearing at 10 and 11 in circuit court. They're quick hearings, and I should have it by between 9 and 9:30. I'll finalize it. I'm one of those few lawyers. I actually work at night, when it's quieter at my home, and now, and the like, and I do that. And there's just a few in my draft. There's some corrections that I need to make. They're minor corrections, but they'll be
And
recommended.
we really appreciate, all of you, the town
Oh, yeah.
staff working, expeditiously. My client definitely is anxious to get it approved. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
This is it's a legitimate good project, and it's just an observation. Although, antique stores, I used to love to go antiquing like my dinosaur friend Michael Miller. So anyway, but that's you go on eBay for that now. So something like that. So okay, then I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. And are there any you don't have any comments, Melissa? If not,
No, I'm not.
it was nice meeting you,
Very good
almost in person, Melissa. You too, Mr. Schur, and Miss Martell, of course, and I've known Michael Miller and the like. So we'll see you next time. And I didn't mind coming. Forgive me. I just thought that it would be physically present, but this is actually better. And I go on Zoom all the time, as well as go to meetings. Some of my
This
other.
conference is no longer being recorded.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
I can take a hint. All right. Take care. Thank you. Take care. Bye then.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you.